I remember back when I was a kid, around 6, 7 years old, I think. One day, I think it was in spring or summer, my Japanese grandfather asked me if I would like to go and catch some grasshoppers with him, so that he could later on cook them for a snack. And I only really understood the catching the grasshoppers part, not the cooking them and eating them. Because at that point I had no idea that people in Japan ate grasshoppers. Anyway, as a kid, I thought, okay, sure, let's go catch some grasshoppers. So he was all excited. He went to the kitchen. He took out, I think, 3 white plastic bags from the local grocery store. And then we went down to his car. It was like a white van, I think. I forgot what model it was. I don't think I ever knew. So we got in his white van and we went for a very short drive. We didn't live in the city or anything. There were some farms nearby, so I think the drive was about 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. And we got there and there was this green grass field. So he parked the car there, we got out. And basically my job was not to catch the grasshoppers because I was so little. And this grass was green and very tall, maybe taller than me at that time. So his job was to catch the grasshoppers. Mine was to just hang on to the plastic bags, I guess. So I handed him one plastic bag. He opened it. And as he walked into the grass field, I saw so many grasshoppers just hopping around. So I guess he knew that they were going to be there. And so he opened up the white plastic bag and he basically just waved it around, and some grasshoppers jumped away from him and some jumped straight into the bag. And after doing that for a little bit, he tied it shut, came to me, got another one, and I held on to the other plastic bags. And once we had 3 plastic bags, maybe about a third full with grasshoppers, it was time for us to go home. And I remember hopping in carefully, and he told me, please just hold on to these plastic bags. Make sure they don't come loose because the grasshoppers are going to try and escape. Just hold on to them. So that was my job. And I remember on the drive back home, sometimes I saw, I felt, I heard 1 or 2 of the grasshoppers just randomly jumping around in the plastic bags. And that's when I thought, I wonder what they're thinking. Because a few minutes ago, they were just jumping around, just feeding in that green grass field. And now they're stuck in this little white bubble with no grass, surrounded by other grasshoppers. They must have been pretty confused as to what was going on. So I started to feel sorry for them. And for a split second I thought maybe I'll ask my grandfather to just let them go, because they didn't do anything wrong. And I still, at that point, had no idea what he meant by cooking them and eating them. Anyway, so we got home and we got out of the car. We went inside and we went straight to the kitchen. And he took out a frying pan and a steel lid for the frying pan. And he poured some oil in the frying pan. And he turned on the gas stove and he said, okay, we've got to wait until the frying pan is just really hot. It has to be smoking a little bit. The oil has to be smoking. So we waited for a minute. And during that time, I was looking down at these 3 plastic bags full of grasshoppers thinking, man, they have no idea what's coming to them. The Grasshoppers Fate was not going to be a pretty one. And then as I was thinking that, my grandfather said, okay, I think it's ready. He took off the lid and I saw a bit of smoke come out, so I guess the frying pan was really hot. And I handed him one of the plastic bags and he said, just get ready because some of them will escape and you have to go catch them and cook them too. So I said, okay. So I handed him the plastic bag, one of them, the first one. And then as he opened it a little bit, he turned the plastic bag upside down and let all of the grasshoppers fall into the red hot frying pan. And just like he said, a few of them jumped out, even though he got the lid and closed it pretty quickly. A few of them jumped out, and it was my job to go find them, catch them, and hand them over to him so he can throw them in the frying pan with the rest of them. I remember as I was catching them and handing them over to my grandfather, I think I felt as though I had eye contact with one of the grasshoppers as I was handing it over to him. Maybe I was just imagining things, I don't know, but in my mind it felt as though it was asking me to spare it, to rescue it, to let it go, just throw it out into the backyard or something so it can live. But of course, if I had done something like that, it would have been a waste from my grandfather's perspective. And I didn't want to risk the rapport that I had with him because I've always loved him. We always got along. He wasn't an abusive person to me at all, ever. So I loved him, and I handed that one grasshopper over to him. I didn't want to risk losing that rapport with him, so I chose the good relationship that I had with him over the lives of all these grasshoppers. And I still distinctly remember as I was crawling around trying to catch a few of these grasshoppers that escaped from the frying pan, as he closed that lid, so many of them did try and jump and escape from this steaming hot, red hot, but pitch black hell pit that they were in. I still remember they were hitting their heads, I guess, on the bottom side of that steel lid, trying to escape. And although it only really lasted a few seconds, I still remember that noise. And we, of course, repeated this. We did this for all 3 bags. It's kind of a... Yeah. I mean, I've never been a vegetarian or a vegan, but this was as a kid, a little traumatic. And once all 3 bags were emptied, and as far as we knew, all the grasshoppers were in the frying pan, being cooked. Once all that noise of any of them trying to escape settled down and was silent, he opened the lid and he took out a bottle of soy sauce, I think, and just poured it in there for flavor. And by that time, of course, all these grasshoppers that were green when they were alive, they were all brown or dark brown. And I remember the smell of these grasshoppers, these cooked grasshoppers. I did not like the smell. The smell, I don't know how to describe it really. Anyway, once he thought they were all cooked, he poured them into a bowl, waited until they've cooled down, and he went into the living room with that bowl of cooked grasshoppers, and he offered me one. And again, since I had this rapport with him, I wanted to just get along with him. And since we went through all this trouble to catch him and cook him, I thought, you know what, I'll just try a leg. So one of those, the jumping legs, the back legs. So I took one of the legs out, or ripped it off of one of the grasshoppers, and I slowly put it in my mouth and bit into it. And it was just the taste. I didn't like it, and I almost threw up. And my grandfather saw that, and he sort of giggled. I guess he knew that I wasn't used to this, so he never pushed me. He just offered one to me. And since I didn't like it, he just said, yeah, you don't have to force yourself to eat any of them. But he was munching away. He just loved this. I love this snack. He just kept munching away, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He was eating all these grasshoppers, these insects. I was 6, 7 years old, and also just seeing that, just watching him eat that was shocking enough. Anyway, that one leg, I just spat it out into a bin in the kitchen, went to brush my teeth, and yeah, that's what I remember about that. You know, as a kid, I didn't really know about my grandfather's past. It was only after that, I think I was a teenager, I was told more about his past by him. And I learned, of course, also the year that he was born. My Japanese grandfather was born in 1927. So when World War II was coming to a close, he was in his late teens. Now, he told me that when he was a few months old, that his dad died. And so his mom and his brothers and sisters, I forgot how many siblings he had, maybe about 4 or 5. They were all living in a rural area, and they were very poor. So they had to do what they had to do to survive. And I guess looking back, I guess even if it wasn't part of the Japanese culture to consume insects, in this case grasshoppers, he had to do what he had to do to survive. I remember him telling me that he was so poor that sometimes him and his friends went into fruit farms, like apple farms or peach farms. I forgot what kind of farms they were, just to steal some apples or peaches to eat as a snack, because they were young and they were hungry, but they were all poor. So they had to do what they had to do, again, to survive. And just like with this grasshopper thing, I guess even as a kid, as a teenager, he went out, caught some grasshoppers, cooked them, and ate them as a snack, because they were so poor that he was never really eating enough. But I only started reflecting on this stuff when I was a teenager, definitely by the time I was in my 20s. I never really thought about that. So I really got along with my Japanese grandfather, and since his passing in 2006, I thought about him a lot. I have so many good memories of him, and he told me so many stories of his childhood and what he went through. Some World War II stories. I have so many memories of him, and this is just one of them. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching this far. More videos are in the works. Till next time.